Bill Clinton, the former U.S. president, appears approximately 50 times throughout the documents, though he is not accused of any criminal activity. The most shocking claim comes from Johanna Sjoberg, who says Epstein allegedly told her that Clinton likes them young, referring to girls. This is the only mention of such comments, and there's no suggestion Clinton engaged in inappropriate conduct with underage girls. Clinton's name appears in various contexts throughout the files, including references to dinners and visits to Epstein's private island in the Virgin Islands. One email discusses offering rewards to people who could disprove allegations made by Virginia Giuffre about Clinton. The documents show Clinton was part of Epstein's social circle and traveled on his private plane nicknamed the Lolita Express. The former president has previously stated he knew nothing of Epstein's crimes during their friendship and had not been in contact with him for nearly 20 years before Epstein's arrest. Prince Andrew appears 69 times throughout these documents and faces some of the most serious allegations of anyone named. The Duke of York is accused of having an underage orgy on Epstein's private island in the U.S. Virgin Islands. An accuser known only as Jane Doe 3 said she was forced to have sexual relations with the prince when she was a minor in 3 separate geographical locations, including Ghislaine Maxwell's London apartment, New York, and Epstein's private island. The documents state that Maxwell facilitated Prince Andrew's acts of sexual abuse by acting as a madam for Epstein. A woman named Johanna Sjoberg claimed the Duke of York groped her breast while sitting on a couch inside Epstein's Manhattan apartment in 2001. Sjoberg also alleges that Maxwell pulled out a puppet of Prince Andrew which was used to touch Virginia Giuffre's breast. Prince Andrew has always denied all allegations and settled a civil lawsuit with Giuffre for millions in 2022. Stephen Hawking. One of the more surprising names in the documents is the late theoretical physicist Stephen Hawking, who died in 2018 in a Epstein suggested that Virginia Giuffre had made claims which alleged Hawking participated in an underage orgy on Epstein's private island. The email shows Epstein told Maxwell she could offer money to friends or acquaintances of Giuffre if they could help prove these accusations were false. Epstein specifically called this one of the strongest allegations that needed to be discredited. Hawking was photographed visiting Epstein's island on a science conference trip in 2006, but there is absolutely no suggestion of any wrongdoing on his part. The documents indicate this was likely either a false allegation or Epstein attempting to discredit Giuffre by claiming she made accusations about respected figures. The mention of Hawking shows how Epstein used his wealth to bring legitimate scientists into his orbit. Donald Trump. The former president appears in the documents through testimony from Johanna Sjoberg, who recalled a specific incident involving Epstein and Trump. She told lawyers that on one occasion, when Epstein could not land his plane in New York, they were diverted to Atlantic City. Sjoberg claims Epstein then suggested calling Trump, saying, "Great, we'll call up Trump and we'll go to the casino," though she couldn't recall the specific casino name. This anecdote places Trump in Epstein's social circle during the early 2000s but contains no allegations of wrongdoing or illegal activity. Trump has previously distanced himself from Epstein, stating that while they knew each other socially in Palm Beach, he was not a fan and had not spoken to him in years. Trump and Epstein were both fixtures of Palm Beach high society in the 1990s and early 2000s, where their social circles overlapped naturally. Michael Jackson. The late king of pop is mentioned in the documents through Johanna Sjoberg's testimony during a May 2016 interview under oath. When asked if she had met any famous people while working for Epstein, she claimed she met Michael Jackson at Epstein's Palm Beach mansion in Florida. However, Sjoberg made it explicitly clear that she never gave Jackson a massage and that their interaction was not sexual in any way. There are no allegations of misconduct attached to Jackson's name whatsoever in these documents. His inclusion simply shows the wide range of celebrities and public figures who moved through Epstein's properties over the years. Epstein cultivated relationships with famous people from entertainment, science, politics, and business to boost his social standing. Many of these individuals, including Jackson, may have been completely unaware of Epstein's criminal activities or simply encountered him in innocent social settings. Ghislaine Maxwell. Maxwell is the central figure throughout these documents, as she was Epstein's longtime associate and convicted sex trafficker currently serving 20 years in prison. The files reveal the sophisticated methods she used to recruit vulnerable young girls for Epstein by approaching them in parks, schools, and public places, offering opportunities to become models or make money. Virginia Giuffre describes meeting Maxwell at Mar-a-Lago, where Maxwell recruited her with promises of becoming a traveling masseuse and seeing the world. The documents detail Maxwell's direct participation in abuse, not just recruitment, with multiple victims testifying she was present during assaults and engaged in abuse herself. Maria Farmer was the first person to report Maxwell and Epstein to the FBI in 1996, describing an assault where both attacked her. Maxwell used her British socialite status and connections to high-profile figures, including Prince Andrew, to give Epstein's operation legitimacy and sophistication. Virginia Giuffre. Virginia Giuffre is the most prominent victim named throughout these documents and the person whose 2015 defamation lawsuit against Ghislaine Maxwell led to their release. She was 16 years old and working at Donald Trump's Mar-a-Lago resort when Maxwell recruited her in 2001 with promises of becoming a traveling masseuse. Giuffre alleges she was sexually abused by both Epstein and Maxwell during her very first encounter at Epstein's Palm Beach mansion. She claims she was then trafficked to powerful men including Prince Andrew, claiming she had sex with him on 3 separate occasions in London, New York, and on Epstein's private island. Giuffre has been fighting for justice for over 2 decades, and her testimony has been crucial in exposing Epstein's sex trafficking network. She settled her civil lawsuit against Prince Andrew in 2022 for a reported sum exceeding $15 million, but continues to speak out for other victims. Johannes Sjoberg. Johannes Sjoberg is a key witness whose testimony appears multiple times throughout the documents, providing crucial corroboration for other victims' claims. She was recruited at age 20 to work as a massage therapist for Epstein and was forced to perform sexual acts on him at his various properties. Sjoberg provided the shocking allegation that Epstein told her Bill Clinton likes them young, referring to girls, though there's no evidence Clinton acted inappropriately. She also claimed Prince Andrew groped her breast while sitting on a couch in Epstein's Manhattan apartment in 2001 and that Maxwell used a Prince Andrew puppet to touch Virginia Giuffre's breast at the same time. Sjoberg recalled the incident where Epstein suggested calling Donald Trump when they were diverted to Atlantic City. Her testimony is particularly significant because it corroborates allegations made by other victims and places multiple high-profile figures at Epstein's properties during the time abuse was occurring. Courtney Wild. Courtney Wild was 14 years old and living in a trailer park in West Palm Beach when she entered Jeffrey Epstein's orbit in 2001. She was a straight-A student, first-chair trumpet player, and captain of the cheerleading squad before meeting Epstein. Wild was brought to Epstein's Palm Beach mansion by another 14-year-old girl with the promise of making $200 for giving a massage. She was sexually abused during that first visit, and Epstein was 48 years old at the time. Wild became part of Epstein's recruitment pyramid, bringing an estimated 50 to 70 other girls aged 14 to 16 to his mansion. She carries immense guilt and shame for bringing other victims into Epstein's trap. Wild was one of the victims interviewed by Palm Beach police in 2005 when they launched their investigation. Her testimony helped expose the scale of Epstein's operation, and she continues to advocate for justice for all victims. Maria Farmer. Maria Farmer holds the devastating distinction of being the very first person to report Jeffrey Epstein and Ghislaine Maxwell to the FBI back in 1996, but her complaints were ignored by authorities. She was a graduate student at the New York Academy of Art when she met Epstein and Maxwell in 1995 and was hired to buy art for Epstein's mansion. Farmer witnessed Maxwell recruiting young girls from parks and schools multiple times, seeing girls with braces who Maxwell claimed were auditioning to be models. Both Epstein and Maxwell sexually assaulted Maria when she was working for them, and her 16-year-old sister Annie was also abused by the pair. Farmer reported everything to the FBI, but they dismissed her complaints and kept them buried for over 2 decades. She never had children because she didn't feel they would be safe. Farmer's case shows how early Epstein's crimes were known to authorities and how their inaction allowed the abuse to continue for years. Jean-Luc Brunel. Jean-Luc Brunel was a French modeling agent and scout who appears in the documents as one of Epstein's key associates in the sex trafficking operation. Brunel ran modeling agencies including MC2 Model Management, which Epstein helped finance and used as a pipeline to recruit young girls under the guise of legitimate modeling opportunities. The documents reveal that Brunel would bring girls from Europe, particularly Eastern Europe and South America, to the United States supposedly for modeling careers, but they were actually being trafficked to Epstein. Virginia Giuffre testified that Brunel was part of Epstein's inner circle and that he personally participated in the abuse of young women. Brunel was arrested in Paris in 2020 on charges of rape of minors and human trafficking, but he was found dead in his prison cell in 2022 in an apparent suicide before he could stand trial. His death meant many questions about his role in Epstein's network remain unanswered. Les Wexner. Les Wexner is the billionaire founder of Victoria's Secret and L Brands, who had an extremely close financial relationship with Jeffrey Epstein for decades. Wexner gave Epstein power of attorney over his finances in the 1990s, an extraordinary level of trust and control. The documents reveal that Epstein managed Wexner's vast fortune and even acquired Wexner's Manhattan mansion, which became one of the primary locations where abuse occurred. Wexner has claimed he was unaware of Epstein's criminal activities and severed ties with him in 2007 after learning of the Palm Beach police investigation. However, questions remain about how much Wexner knew given their close relationship and the fact that abuse occurred in properties connected to him. Wexner has never been charged with any crimes, but his name appears in documents as someone who had intimate knowledge of Epstein's operations and lifestyle. Their business relationship gave Epstein legitimacy in elite financial circles. Sarah Kellen, also known as Sarah Kensington, is named throughout the documents as one of Epstein's key assistants who helped facilitate his sex trafficking operation. Victims describe Kellen as one of the women who scheduled appointments with underage girls, coordinated their travel, and maintained the logistics of Epstein's abuse network. Phone message pads seized by police showed Kellen's handwriting scheduling girls for massage appointments at Epstein's various properties. She traveled frequently with Epstein on his private plane and was present at multiple locations where abuse occurred. Despite her central role in the operation, Kellen received immunity under Epstein's 2008 plea deal and has never been criminally charged. She has denied any wrongdoing and claims she was also a victim of Epstein, who manipulated her when she was young. Her name appearing in flight logs and scheduling documents places her at the operational heart of Epstein's trafficking network for many years.